Hello everyone, Osk here. Game developer is one of those things that we have massive respect for, and I couldn't agree more. Devs like Toby Fox, Hakita, Ekbet McMillan are all respected in their own community either for making a good game or for having a good reputation. However, just like life, that when there's good, there's also bad, and that includes game developers. Mob Entertainment, Bungie, Fish, these are all developers that are hated for one reason or another. I know the first two are rated developers, but I need to find ways to talk shit about them one way or another. And that's what I'm planning to talk about. Game with bad developers. It gotta be someone doing something very malicious, or just a good game, just happy to have a bad developer. So enough said, let's go into it. So let's start this video off with something that I haven't talked about for a while, and that is FNAF Junior. Junior is one of those fan games that I actually enjoy. Good gameplay, amazing design for the animatronics, and a flawed but yet good and enjoyable story. I rarely download FNAF games since the last one I downloaded to make my PC into a nuclear bomb, but Junior is one of those exceptions. Sadly, it is one of those games where one bad event causes this game to have a bad reputation, and all thanks to the pair. For those who don't know, the pair has to be the biggest scandal not only for FNAF fan game, but the community as a whole. The pair is, or rather was, a private group chat with Ultra Knight, Mechless, and the creator of Junior's, Ravenov. The main goal of the group chat was to worm their way to the development team, befriending the figurehead of said team, tracking down the private account, and gaining power on Game Show, all to attempt to leak everything onto 4chan. Wow, that's a lot to take in. Also, they have Scott private wedding video and family photo, and eventually leaked that too. What the fuck? So yeah, if you might have guessed, when the whole story broke, Kane Carter, the creator of Podcast, and the other person who received the leaks, had to make a response and clarification that yes, the pair is real and things has gone way worse. And the reason why Kane and the others didn't make this public is, well, mostly because possible retaliation. The pair have leaks of Proper Evergreen, or Nevergreen by one of these jackass, and other games, so with any response will result their game being leaked. This wasn't speculation on Kane's part, they were willing to leak everything according to some leaked messages that Kane's shown. Hell, Ultra Knight, the head leader of the pair, had a dedicated Discord that called my personal leak. And the reason why they were doing it is because they were upset for the FNAF First initiative. I'm not joking. After the pair was known to the public, people started banning / blocking the devs who were related to the pair. Then later on, the two devs released statements to respond to the backlash. However, Ravenov didn't say anything since he already planned to leave the community after Juniors, which is fair to say the least. And it kinda sucked to see that Junior had to be tarnished like this. Like I said in the beginning of the section, this has been one of the most polished FNAF fan games I have ever played. I might do a review of Juniors later on in the channel, but it's not a here and there. So yeah, that was Junior, a good game that was later tarnished over something they did to themselves. And funny enough, the next game I'm planning to talk about did the exact same thing, but somehow more petty. And the game I'm talking about is Welcome to the Game 2. Welcome to Game 2 is an oddity to me. Like, yeah, sure, the controversy is well known in the game itself, but even then, the controversy is still niche. So a brief history, Welcome to Game 2 is a sequel to Welcome to Game. Go figure. This game centers around you playing as Clint Edward, trying to save a woman from being killed by a murderous cult known as Noir. You do this by scattering around different websites to find 8 different hashes to form a link so you can be able to save her. You must do this while avoiding an assassin, SWAT team, some random guy, and Noir himself. While this sword is simple enough, the gameplay is not. It's one of those games where you have to manage a million things out at once. You have to manage motion check, swords, police radio, VPN, Wi-Fi, power outage, see how many lights you have on, getting hacked while getting money, getting hacked to event, getting hacked later on, checking whether or not you're still alive, and hiding. So many hiding, oh my god, it's a lot. Surely that's everything, right? Well, not exactly. You see, if you were like, say, a live stream the game, and Adam, the dev, happens to see your live stream, you will manage to make the game unbeatable. So, what did I mean unbeatable? Well...
It's bugged. It's actually bugged. It's actually bugged! What the fuck was that? I couldn't click on that square.
So a lot of you may think that that's just a bug. Well, that's just one of many. Besides making certain minigames not work, he could just make the enemies more aggressive and summon a secret 5th enemy, the Dollmaker. For those who don't know, the Dollmaker is only activated if you visit his website, and the only way to get rid of him permanently is to finish his side quest. However, Adam could permanently add the Dollmaker to your run and making it more impossible. Now a lot of you may be wondering, what's the issue? There's a ton of games that love to mess around with streamers. I mean, hell, the most popular example is Cluster Truck. Well, you see, the difference is that Cluster Truck used Twitch integration, which allowed the dev to do some silly things, while Welcome to the Game does not. The entire time, Adam wasn't using some sort of integration nor an alternative. All they had is just a backdoor that allows him to make the game much harder. And the worst part is that Adam did not mention that he could do this anywhere. No update, no tweet. You may think that he could put this in some sort of devlog, but no, not that either. Hell, this isn't even a setting that you could turn off. And you may be wondering why he's doing this. Well, it's all because someone called him an asshole.
Excuse me, what?
Yeah, he's doing this because someone called him an asshole. You got nothing to say, then why? So yeah, that was Welcome to the Game, probably the most interesting game I saw. But what if there's a game that that's so rotten, so bad that it may be reason why we know how bad Modern Development is? And if you know, then you probably know this game, Noir. Noir is said to be the biggest game from an untested studio, and that team was Team Bondi. Team Bondi was an Australia-based studio led by Brandon McNamara, which is the reason why Noir is on this list. He was just leaving Team Pseudo after developing The Getaway, a game that sold well, but nobody ever heard of it. He would later form Team Bondi, a secondary studio who would be established as a company focused on motion capture technology. This technology turned all sorts of head, and that includes Sony, who agreed to publish the first game. 2005 came around and put those worries to rest as they announced Noir, a detective story set in the 40s and to be released on the PlayStation 3. While the team were excited to try their new cutting-edge technology, they weren't sure what that tech would even look like. The team had spent those 3 years working on a game without much of a clue how strong the PS3 would be, and when they found out, they had to backpedal since they overestimate what the PS3 could handle. While they were trying to bring their expectations, Sony decided to put a funny prank and decided to end their publishing deal thanks to the game increasing budget. Taking a meter photo of a person's face for every single NPC costs a lot of money, and the game had a budget that hard to justify with the studio with no published game. That until Rockstar Game would end up picking up the publishing right, and with the group as Rockstar backing the game up, things were looking good. However, here's things goes from unforeseen consequences to obvious consequences. All the information comes from anonymous dev recounting their treatment at Team Bondi, compiled at an IGN article that paints a vivid photo of what happened with the game and more that I could make a separate video on it. After doing some research for the sake of the video, I came to the conclusion that Brandon McNamara is a fucking scumbag. He's just not a nice guy. All the testimony had nothing positive to say about him, instead calling him an angry pig-head bully who makes sure that everyone knew when he's unhappy about his project not being exactly what he wanted. Often, staff were given tasks that didn't match their skill set, and having artists/animators were given insane deadlines that were impossible. The only person who was never bound on a deadline is McNamara himself. He was so eager to show his tech, he would often take ages to report back any amount of progress being made on the game to Rockstar. What was the reason? To be honest, nothing. The game development was moving slowly, mostly because the door of Team Bondi was a revolving one. You see, human beings deserve right. Political, I know, and it's one that every developer seems to agree with, as they don't want to put up with McNamara's bullshit. Over the course of Noir development, over 100 players were burnt out by McNamara's slow progress, even further as one person left, someone else had to pick up the slack. The person who got the work after them would spend months trying to figure out what any of this was or what it meant. And then after the next patient from McNamara, they would leave. And that leaves the next person to repeat the cycle. But where does these developers even coming from? Well, they weren't popping out of the ground, worse actually, they're coming out of college. Fresh college employees will make up the majority of the abandonment staff, but not as employees, but rather junior graduates. They have the responsibility of employees, but get paid less. See what is basically a sweatshop and no LA Noir to show, Rockstar decided to step in and lead a hand to give McNamara some experienced producer to help. With all of, McNamara agreed, and from 2009 all the way until the release of the game, LA Noire will enter crunch time, clocking in at 7 AM and clock out at 3 AM. While it wasn't technically required, you were sure to be treated as a second-class citizen if you don't pull your weight. But luckily, the reward for crunch time culture is always the tasty bonus at the end, right? Well, McNamara somehow will ruin that too, as it was reported by the same anonymous sources that overtime was never paid. A system was allegedly set up that allowed the employee to earn overtime for work done on the weekend, but the same anonymous sources refuted that there was no system, and overtime could be properly earned if you were in the studio 3 months after the game was released. McNamara will respond to all the criticism against him and his business practice, and I was a betting man on him being irrational. I would start running. All his answers were dismissal of the poor condition, either chalked them out at how the industry worked, or people should often suffer for their art. Ah yes, the thing were bad ones, they should always be bad mindset. Definitely not an excuse to be a dick. After LA Noire release, it would be critical and financial success, but really a game that sold 500 million copies would consider a bust because by this point, Rockstar has sunk over 50 million into the project, and compared to the sale to Red Dead that earned an extra 10 million, there's a big difference. Team Bondi was later shut down after the game launched, and McNamara, to his credit, didn't let the goddamn thing after the game has finished and found everyone to blame but himself. What? Hey, I don't have an outro for this. I couldn't think of anything, but here's some upcoming videos I'm planning to do next. So the next video is definitely gonna be the Shadow of Dan video, because I basically finished with the script and gameplay footage. I am during the editing part of the video since I'm in the gameplay section. The next couple of long form videos is definitely gonna be the DMC1 review, and the next couple are definitely gonna be the No More Hero series, because I really want to talk about them and I haven't played them since I was a kid. So yeah, other than that, I got nothing to say. I guess.